I am Hans, a 32-year-old software engineer from Seattle. 3 years with Amanda felt perfect until I discovered her affair with her coworker. Despite building a life together and planning our wedding, her betrayal forced me to end our engagement. She begged forgiveness, but I knew we could never recover what was lost. What I never expected was her friends ambushing and physically attacking me when I refused to take her back. My decision to press charges changed everything that followed. Before I dive deeper into this nightmare, let me know where you are watching from in the comments. Hit that subscribe button if you believe in standing up for yourself when wronged. Trust me, you will want to hear how this ends. Before meeting Amanda, my life was pretty good. I had a successful career at a growing tech company, a solid group of friends, and was finally ready for a meaningful relationship after focusing on my career for years. I met Amanda at a tech conference in Portland. Our mutual friend Derek introduced us during the networking mixer, and we instantly connected over our shared interests in hiking true crime podcasts and cooking experimental recipes on weekends. Our first date was at a waterfront restaurant with incredible seafood and a view of the city lights reflecting off the water. We talked for hours, closing down the restaurant as the staff patiently waited for us to realize we were the last customers. Within weeks, we were spending most weekends together exploring mountain trails or testing new recipes in my kitchen. Amanda had this infectious laugh that would make everyone around her smile, and her passion for her marketing career impressed me. After 18 months together, Amanda moved into my downtown apartment. The transition felt natural and exciting. We merged our book collections, argued playfully about art placement, and established routines that suited both our lifestyles. She decorated the spare bedroom as her home office, adding plants and color to my previously minimalist space. Amanda integrated easily with my friend group, winning them over with her charm and genuine interest in their lives. Similarly, I made efforts to connect with her college friends and coworkers. We built what I thought was a strong social foundation for our future together. On our 3rd anniversary, I took Amanda on a sunset hike to Mount Rainier. With the mountain glowing pink in the setting sun, I got down on one knee and presented the sapphire ring I had carefully selected with help from her best friend Tara. Amanda gasped, tears flowing, as she accepted my proposal. That night, under the stars, we talked about our future together, dreaming about the home we would build and the family we might start someday. Wedding planning became our weekend activity. We selected a gorgeous venue overlooking the Puget Sound, set a date for the following summer, and designed invitations featuring a watercolor painting of the spot where I proposed. Amanda created detailed spreadsheets for every aspect of the wedding, from floral arrangements to seating charts. I remember thinking how lucky I was to have found someone so organized and passionate. But about 7 months into our engagement, things began to change. Amanda became increasingly secretive, with her phone angling it away when I walked into the room. She started working late, more frequently mentioning new projects and work friends I had never heard of before. Our intimate connection began to fade, with Amanda often claiming exhaustion or stress when I initiated closeness. The communication pattern that had been our strength became strained. When I asked about her day, her answers grew vague. When I expressed concern about our changing relationship, she accused me of being paranoid or needy. I started wondering if wedding stress was affecting us more than I realized. Everything changed during her business trip to Chicago. Amanda forgot her laptop at home, and I received a call from her asking me to check if it was on her desk. It was, and as I went to close it, a message notification appeared on the screen. I normally would never invade her privacy, but the preview text made my stomach drop. It was from someone named Jackson, and the partial message visible was explicitly sexual. I hesitated, but ultimately opened the conversation. What I found destroyed me. Amanda and Jackson, her department head, had been having an affair for 4 months. The messages contained explicit photos, hotel receipts, and detailed accounts of their encounters, often on nights when Amanda told me she was working late. They even messaged about their rendezvous during our weekend getaways, with Amanda texting him while I was in the shower or buying groceries. When Amanda returned from her trip, I confronted her with the evidence. She initially denied everything, then became angry about my invasion of privacy. Finally, as the undeniable evidence mounted, she broke down in tears, confessing to the affair. Her justifications cut deep. She claimed she felt neglected because of my work hours, insisted it was just physical, and meant nothing, called it a mistake that happened when she felt uncertain about our future. My world collapsed. The future I had planned, the woman I thought I knew, the trust I had given completely, it all shattered in an instant. I could not eat or sleep for days, constantly replaying moments in my head, wondering what signs I had missed, and if anything in our relationship had been real. Amanda became desperate to fix things. She promised to cut all contact with Jackson, offered to switch departments, or even companies suggested couples therapy, and swore her love for me was genuine despite her actions. She cried, pleaded, and reminded me of our 3 years together and all the wedding plans already in motion. After a week of agonizing, I knew I could not move forward with the marriage. The breach of trust was too severe, the disrespect too profound. When I told Amanda my decision was final, her reaction shifted dramatically. She went from pleading to anger, threatening to keep the expensive engagement ring, and suggesting I was throwing away our relationship over one mistake. I needed space to process everything, so I temporarily moved in with my friend Patrick. Those first few nights on his couch were some of the darkest of my life. But I knew ending the engagement was the right decision, no matter how painful. After a week at Patrick's place, I returned to the apartment to collect more of my belongings. I asked Patrick to come with me as a witness, not trusting what might happen. Amanda was not there, but my phone was filled with tearful voicemails, claiming I had abandoned her and our future without warning. I sent her a formal text ending our relationship clearly and requesting space to process everything. I wanted no ambiguity about where we stood. What I did not anticipate was her social media response. Amanda posted vague but emotional updates about being suddenly abandoned by the person she trusted most, never mentioning her infidelity. Her posts garnered sympathy from friends and family who did not know the full story. Within days, I discovered that Amanda had told her friends a completely different version of events. According to her story, I had become controlling and distant, then abruptly ended our engagement without real cause. She conveniently left out the 4-month affair with her boss. Our mutual friends began taking sides. Some reached out to hear my perspective, but many simply accepted Amanda's version without question. I started receiving increasingly hostile messages from her close friends Tara, Brian, and Zoe, accusing me of cruelty and emotional abuse. Some messages contained veiled threats about making me regret hurting Amanda. The situation escalated when Amanda showed up unannounced at my workplace. She created a scene in the lobby, crying loudly and demanding to speak with me. My colleague Jordan witnessed the entire thing and helped escort her outside while I hid in a conference room, shaking with anxiety. My supervisor was understanding, but concerned about workplace disruption. After this incident, I agreed to one final meeting at a neutral coffee shop to return the engagement ring and hopefully bring closure to the situation. I chose a busy location for safety, arriving 20 minutes early to secure a table with clear sight lines to the exit. Amanda arrived 20 minutes late, with puffy eyes and disheveled hair. She immediately launched into reminiscing about our good times together, touching my hand across the table and saying she would do anything to fix things between us. When I calmly explained that my decision was final and slid the ring box across the table, her demeanor changed instantly. Her voice rose as she accused me of wasting 3 years of her life. Several patrons turned to look at our table. I noticed Amanda texting repeatedly under the table while continuing to argue. I should have recognized this as a warning sign, but I was focused on maintaining my composure and ending the conversation as quickly as possible. Within 15 minutes, Amanda's friends Tara, Brian, and Zoe arrived surrounding our table. Tara immediately began listing ways I had supposedly hurt Amanda. Brian stood imposingly over me, calling me a coward and heartless jerk. Zoe, who I had always thought was the most reasonable of Amanda's friends, joined in with accusations about my character and intentions. The coffee shop manager approached our table, asking us to take the conversation outside as we were disturbing other customers. I took this opportunity to leave, gathering my jacket and heading toward the door. Amanda and her friends followed me into the parking lot, continuing their verbal assault. As I reached for my car door, Brian suddenly shoved me hard against the vehicle. The impact knocked the wind from my lungs as my back collided with the metal. Before I could recover, Tara slapped me across the face and grabbed for my phone, screaming that she would call everyone in my contacts to tell them what a terrible person I was. When I raised my arms to protect myself, Zoe punched me in the ribs, causing me to double over in pain. Brian pushed me again, and I fell awkwardly, my wrist twisting under my body weight. The pain was immediate and intense. Through it all, they hurled threats about how I would regret what I did to Amanda, how they would make sure everyone knew the truth about me, and how I deserved worse than what I was getting. Amanda stood several feet away, watching everything without intervening. A woman named Lisa, who had been sitting at a nearby table in the coffee shop, had followed us outside and was recording the incident on her phone. She called out that she was calling the police, which finally caused Amanda and her friends to back off. They hurried to their cars with Amanda looking back at me once before they all drove away. My eye was swelling shut, my ribs ached with each breath, and my wrist throbbed painfully. Despite the pain, I managed to drive myself to the emergency room, tears of shock and betrayal blurring my vision the entire way. At the hospital, a doctor named Sarah carefully documented my injuries with photographs for medical records. The examination revealed multiple contusions, including a black eye, bruised ribs that made breathing painful, and a sprained wrist that required a brace. Each photograph and medical note represented not just physical pain but the emotional trauma of being attacked by people I once considered friends. Officer Rodriguez arrived to take my statement while I was still in the examination room. He asked detailed questions about the incident, the identities of my attackers, and the history leading up to the assault. When he asked if I wanted to press charges, I hesitated. Despite everything, I worried about the implications for our shared social circles and the additional drama it might create. Then my phone rang. It was Lisa, the bystander, who had recorded the attack. She offered to send me the video evidence and serve as a witness if needed. When I viewed the footage, the reality of what happened hit me anew. The video showed clearly that I had not provoked or threatened anyone. It captured Brian shoving me against the car, Tara slapping me and grabbing for my phone, and Zoe punching my ribs when my hands were raised defensively. Seeing the objective evidence solidified my decision. I formally filed charges against all three attackers. Detective Wilson was assigned to my case and collected statements from Lisa and other witnesses, including the coffee shop manager, who had seen the beginning of the confrontation. The next few days brought a barrage of calls and texts from Amanda. She alternated between apologizing for her friend's actions and trying to convince me to drop the charges. She claimed they were just emotional and defending her because they cared that they did not mean to hurt me so badly. I blocked her number after the 20th message. My employer was understanding about the situation, granting me leave to recover both physically and emotionally. I was grateful for the space to heal without worrying about work responsibilities or facing curious colleagues. As news of the assault spread through our social circle, the responses varied dramatically. The video evidence made it impossible to deny what had happened, leading some mutual friends to reach out and apologize for believing Amanda's version of events. Others, however, doubled down on their support for her, claiming I must have done something to deserve the attack, or that I was blowing a minor altercation out of proportion by involving the police. On the advice of Detective Wilson, I filed for a restraining order against Amanda and her three friends. The process was straightforward with the video evidence and medical reports, but each form I filled out was a painful reminder of how drastically my life had changed in just a few weeks. The physical pain eventually began to subside, but the emotional trauma lingered. I developed anxiety symptoms that interfered with daily life. I jumped at unexpected sounds, felt nervous in public places, and had trouble sleeping through the night. Flashbacks of the attack would hit me randomly, making my heart race and my hands shake. Recognizing I needed help processing everything, I started therapy with Dr. Melissa. Our sessions focused on addressing both the betrayal of Amanda's affair and the trauma of the physical attack. Dr. Melissa helped me understand that my reactions were normal responses to abnormal situations, not weaknesses or overreactions as some had suggested. As the court date approached, I met with District Attorney Jennifer Phillips several times to prepare my testimony. She was confident about the case given the video evidence and medical reports, but warned me that the defense would likely try to shift blame by painting me as emotionally abusive or provoking the attack. Through mutual connections, I learned that Amanda's friends were attempting to intimidate me into dropping the charges. They spread rumors about investigating my past for dirt, contacted some of my coworkers with vague allegations, and suggested they would countersue for defamation. Despite this pressure campaign, I remained firm in my decision to see the legal process through. The day of the trial arrived, with a mix of dread and determination. Walking into the courthouse, my palms were sweaty and my mouth dry. Seeing Amanda and her friends for the first time since the attack sent a jolt of anxiety through me, but I focused on maintaining my composure. On the stand, I recounted the events truthfully, my voice occasionally wavering but never breaking. The defense attorney tried to suggest I had emotionally manipulated Amanda and threatened her friends first, but had no evidence to support these claims. When Lisa's video was shown to the courtroom, the impact was immediate and undeniable. The footage clearly showed an unprovoked attack, contradicting the defense's narrative completely. The coffee shop manager testified that he had observed no threatening behavior from me prior to asking our group to leave, only heated words from Amanda and her friends directed at me. The medical evidence presented by my doctor further demonstrated the severity of the assault. After 3 hours of deliberation, the jury returned with a guilty verdict for all 3 attackers on charges of assault and battery. The judge sentenced them to probation, community service, mandatory anger management classes, and restitution for my medical expenses and therapy costs. After the verdict, Amanda approached me in the courthouse hallway, attempting a public apology that seemed more focused on repairing her image than acknowledging the harm caused. I simply walked away, choosing dignity over engagement. That moment of walking away, of refusing to be pulled back into her drama, felt like the first real step toward healing. The months following the trial were dedicated to rebuilding my life. I moved to a new apartment in a different neighborhood, creating physical distance from the memories associated with Amanda. The fresh start helped ease some of my anxiety, giving me space to process everything that had happened. I continued regular therapy sessions with Dr. Melissa, gradually working through the complex emotions tied to both relationship trauma and physical assault. We focused on identifying healthy boundaries and rebuilding trust in my own judgment after missing red flags with Amanda. My support system proved invaluable during this time. Loyal friends who had stood by me through the worst of it helped me move, joined me for meals when I did not feel like cooking, and provided normal social interaction when I needed distraction. My parents and sister flew in for a week after the trial, their presence a comforting reminder of unconditional family support. As physical healing progressed, my ribs no longer ached with each breath, and my wrist regained its strength through physical therapy exercises. The visible reminders faded, but the experience changed me in profound ways I was only beginning to understand. At Dr. Melissa's suggestion, I joined a support group for survivors of relationship abuse. Hearing others' experiences helped me contextualize my own, and the shared understanding created a safe space for processing difficult emotions. Through the group, I met people who became new friends, connections built on mutual respect and healthy boundaries. 8 months after the trial, I felt ready to consider dating again. I met Lydia at a cooking class I joined to reclaim an activity that had once brought me joy. Unlike the instant chemistry with Amanda, my connection with Lydia built slowly through genuine conversation and shared experiences. I was honest about my past experiences, and she respected my need to take things slowly. My approach to relationships transformed through this journey. I learned to prioritize honesty and open communication from the beginning, to watch for consistency between words and actions, and to trust my instincts when something felt wrong. Most importantly, I recognized that respecting yourself is the foundation for any healthy relationship with others. The decision to press charges against Amanda's friends was never about revenge. It was about standing up for myself and refusing to be a victim. by holding them accountable for their actions. I reclaimed my power and self-respect. The legal process was difficult, but the alternative, allowing their behavior to go unchallenged, would have left wounds that might never have healed properly. 1 year after the attack, my life looked completely different. I accepted a new job opportunity with a company whose values aligned better with my own. My friendships were fewer, but deeper, built on mutual trust and genuine connection. Most significantly, I found an inner peace I had not expected to recover so soon after such betrayal. I remain grateful for those who supported me through the darkest times. From Lisa, who recorded the attack, to Officer Rodriguez, who took my case seriously, to Patrick, who offered his couch without hesitation. Each person played a role in my recovery journey. The experience taught me about forgiveness versus accountability. I learned that forgiving someone does not mean accepting their behavior or maintaining a relationship with them. True healing comes from within, not from others' actions or apologies. The freedom that comes with releasing toxic people from your life creates space for genuine growth and new connections. Have you ever had to stand up for yourself against people who wronged you? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might help someone else facing a similar situation. If this story resonated with you or gave you courage, please hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life experiences. Share this video with someone who might need to hear that standing up for yourself is not selfish, it is necessary for healing. Thank you for listening to my journey, and remember that sometimes the hardest decisions lead to the most important growth. Your worth is non-negotiable, and you deserve relationships that honor that truth.